Welcome to the Campfire, travelers, a place where the ancestors of old and the legends of myth speak through the ages into these very moments. A place that is alive with the echoes of the wise. A place where silence becomes flame and the whispers of truth echo through the ruins and time itself. Tonight, we gather to talk about the power of stillness in a noisy world. I am Jason Welch, the Flame Bearer, and tonight, we step into the clearing between sounds, the breath between heartbeats, and the stillness that heals. This night, we are once again blessed by the presence of Filograt Screedelius, gnome of the deep, ascended great gold dragon king of the realm of Feracinth. Before we begin, be sure to invite another to our humble camp, and light your torch, subscribe, and like the podcast. Now let's jump in.
Ah yes, I am fond of your little campfire and the stories told around it. I plan to visit often. I am honored to be here. And as our host invites you to do follow along and join the campfire each night. Tonight I have some wisdom and truth to share. And it starts with understanding that there is great strength found in embracing stillness. And I believe that is too profound and too deep not to be shared and not to be known. I know this is your camp, Jason, but if you don't mind...
Well, of course, Your Majesty. I am honored by your visit.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, travelers, let us enter the hallowed space of the Hall of Stillness. As we enter the hall, we begin with the rarity of stillness. In a world drenched with noise, where hustle is worshipped and constant movement is mistaken for life, stillness feels like rebellion. But rebellion against what, I wonder? Not silence exactly, but the inner stillness. The kind that doesn't just quiet a room, but quiets you. Once, a great many years ago, I found myself deeply troubled and so caught up in chasing the shiny things of life. I mean, in my youth, I believed, as many dragons do, that my worth was measured by the weight of my hoard. My power, as it is with all sentient dragonkind, is rooted in the size of my treasure hoard, so I was always on the hunt for more. More money, more relevance, and more power. I must admit, it took an eon for me to learn that I never needed all of that, because the truth I resisted the longest, I was already enough. Long before fate chose me as the bearer of the Emberborn soul, and led me to ascend my station as a king, and the protector of Feracinth, I was already enough. And I'm here to share this wisdom with you so you won't have to waste your lives in the pursuit of the unnecessary, because you too are enough just as you are.
Indeed, Your Highness.
Call me Filo.
Yes, Majesty. Filo. That reminds me of a story from this world. Here on Earth, an ancient story hails from a place known as China, where philosopher Shuangzi once lived. As the story goes, the philosopher was lying on a bench staring at the sky when a student, puzzled, asked, "Master, are you doing nothing?" Shuangzi smiled and replied, "Oh no, I am doing the most important thing. I am being."
Shuangzi, a wise man, no doubt.
Undeniably so, Filo. This echo reminds us that stillness is not idleness, but the root from which wisdom rises.
You, Jason, are a wise man in your own right, to see such truth in the story of Shuangzi and the puzzled student. I will carry this with me when I return to my land. Okay, travelers, if I may, we now pass into the forest clearing and enter the Silent Mind Monastery, where stillness is the sole focus of the monks who live there. It is there, in that wooded sanctuary, that I began to understand the scope of stillness. I practiced meditation centered around the concept of stillness, literally as the forest clearing. Here I noticed noises like underbrush, tangled and thick and all but impassable. Hustle is like a storm that batters the canopy, but when you step into the clearing, there is space for light. And there, wisdom can find you.
Indeed, Filo. In stillness, there is room for light, and in that space, wisdom finds you. In fact, there once lived a fabled emperor in another of Earth's domains, Rome, who made it a point to pass that wisdom down through the ages in his writings. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, in ancient times while ruling over an empire at war, wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul."
Interesting, Jason. And what does this echo from the ancient emperor reveal?
Filo, my friend, the ember of truth found in Emperor Aurelius' teaching is, if an emperor can find time to retreat inward, even amidst great chaos and trials, does it not follow that we, here in modern times, can also? After all, wisdom is not born in frenzy. It is born in pause.
Very good. One might not expect such depth of wisdom in a race so young as man. But I shall have to rethink this idea, having heard you share two profound truths here tonight. Thank you for sharing. Now where was I when our host Jason here, the listener of Echoes, began his story? Yes. In the peace offered in the forest clearing, we have the opportunity to recognize that noise shouts, yes, of course, but also that wisdom whispers.
So true, Filo, so true. And listener of Echoes, I like that. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Filo. Just Filo.
Thank you, Filo.
So, Traveler, in light of what has been shared here thus far tonight, ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in stillness? No screen, no music, no scrolling, no plan, just stillness. Is it safe to say that perhaps your wisest moments came not in noise, but in pause? In taking a walk without your phone, in a breath while bathing, during a long gaze at the ceiling in the night? Would you agree, wisdom does not shout, it whispers? And only when the noise stills can you hear it. Don't answer now, just sit with the thoughts as we continue the discussion.
Filo, my friend, your wisdom is sound and your logic is flawless, but we need to take a step back for a moment.
Do we? What happened that we should go backward?
As it happens, we overstepped a bit. We explored the Hall of Stillness with you, and the forest clearing too. But we neglected the space between.
The space between. Interesting. Enlighten us to what lies within the space between.
Yes, the space between. We can't just suddenly find ourselves in a forest clearing straight from the Hall of Stillness without first crossing the space between. Because in that emptiness, there is so much power to be found. It should not simply be glossed over or ignored.
Very well, listener. Regale us with a tale of the wisdom and truths found in this space between.
Travelers, have you heard of a wise man called Viktor Frankl? This was a man who discovered the depths of joy while surviving the torture and nightmare of one of modern history's most horrific periods, the Holocaust. A period of time during World War II when a great and terrible leader, Adolf Hitler, made a harrowing effort to establish his view of the perfect race as the only people allowed to live in the world by murdering millions of people he saw as less than perfect. One such culture was the Jewish people. One such person, while in his captivity during that time, Viktor Frankl, was able to survive and later to thrive because he held strong to the idea that joy cannot be stolen without giving it away. In that truth, he found stillness in joy and quiet amidst the noise. Later, he went on to write, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space of which he spoke is that stillness. That power is the pause. The pause between anger and reaction, between fear and courage, between impulse and intention. Because stillness is not inaction. It is consciousness in action. It is the forge where wisdom tempers the steel of your choices. It is the space between one state of being and another, the transition between instinct and choice. And in that space, we hold the power to rise above instinct and become more fully the humans we are meant to be.
And I'm the great one here, Jason. My friend, you are a master of wisdom and truth, the likes of which rivals any in Feracinth, and I'd wager that is true for this land also. Travelers, it is here where I depart this night, but I see that you are in good hands. Until next time, may the echoes of the wise guide your feet, and the truth of the ages be the wind in your sails. Jason, until next time, my friend.
Safe travels, Filo. What a treat that was. Filo may have departed, but there is much left to learn here tonight, travelers. Although, now we come to an uncomfortable doorway. It's uncomfortable because, and let's not romanticize this, stillness is not always gentle. When you sit still, you meet yourself, your critic, your regrets, your what-ifs. Yet, discomfort is the doorway to transformation. In fact, another echo from ancient times, the mystic Rumi once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." See, stillness holds the wound in its gaze until the light begins to seep through. And in that space, healing begins.
That's all well and good, Jason. But how do we reclaim stillness in a world built on benches?
That's a fair question, traveler. Let me answer first with what doesn't work. We do not find stillness by fleeing to mountaintops or casting off every tool of life. Instead, we find it by choosing again and again to pause. We practice it on purpose, weaving it into the fabric of our daily lives.
And what does that look like, man?
Love it. Great question. Some examples you can apply to your life might be taking 5 minutes each morning just to be. No music, no apps, just breath. Going for a walk once a week without your phone. No distractions. Just letting your feet and the earth keep time. You might sit in your car for 60 seconds in the quiet before entering work. No radio, no engine running, no outside influences. Simply being in the moment. And most of all, listen for when your soul asks for space. And when it does, honor it.
Come on, that sounds too simple. What are you talking about?
My friends, the truth is simple. You don't need to be a monk to be still. You need only choose it. The world will always be loud. That's its nature. But the deepest truths, the ones that guide, change, and heal, come not in noise, but in stillness. So tonight, I invite you, find your quiet. Enter your space. Let the wisdom rise. And remember, stay still and stay curious. Alas, travelers, the fire is dying. But before it fades to coals, I leave you with these thoughts, these embers to light your way. Questions for your journal that you may reflect more deeply on your life. These echoes of the wise, if you will. So grab your journal and add the following embers to it. The one you wrote the embers from the last episode of Echoes in is the perfect choice. And if this is your first time around the Campfire, traveler, now is the perfect time to begin your own Embers journal. Then, upon the closing of this eve, revisit the echoes you have missed and sit with them a while. Listen to the earlier embers, feel the heat of the flames and apply the wisdoms and truths revealed in their light to your life. Add those embers to your journal as well. Write them down. And then write 3 to 5 sentences of honest self-reflection in response to each of them. Then spend 10 to 15 minutes sitting with what you have written before moving on. Ready? Okay, travelers, here are today's embers. When was the last time I was truly present, fully being instead of existing on autopilot? What truth surfaced in that moment? How often do I mistake doing nothing for intentional stillness? How do I distinguish between being smart, being strategic, and being wise? Which of these qualities do I most lean into, and which do I wish to grow in? When did I last set everything aside and rest in pure stillness? When have I paused between feeling and responding? What truth or insight emerged from that quiet moment? What did that space teach me, and was the action I chose more aligned with wisdom than the reaction I initially felt? When have I paused between feeling and responding? What regrets or what ifs still echo in me? How might stillness help me feel them fully and begin to release them? What might change? Where in my daily rhythm can I carve a small clearing for stillness? 5 minutes, a walk, a breath, and what might change if I honored it consistently? This has been Echoes of the Wise, truths too deep not to be known, and wisdoms too profound to be ignored. I am Jason Welch, the Flame Bearer, the listener of Echoes, reminding you to carry your embers gently, and may stillness reveal the path beneath your feet. Until next time, I'll see you around the campfire.